We are here in the American Wild West, second half of the 19th century. Today we will delve into the shadows and interview the people that history books have forgotten.
The Saloon. The year is 1880. Forget the Hollywood glamour. Crossing the swinging doors of a frontier saloon wasn't an act of bravery. It was a matter of pure necessity. Upon entering, the first thing that hits you isn't the music, but a wall of thick, stale air. It's a stifling mix of pipe tobacco smoke, the sour stench of spilled beer, and the metallic odor of men who haven't seen a bar of soap in weeks. Under your boots, the floor is covered in a layer of filthy sawdust. It isn't decorative. It's there to soak up saliva, chewed tobacco, and, all too often, the blood from sudden dispute. At the bar, the wood is sticky to the touch. The whiskey they serve you, nicknamed Firewater, is usually a corrosive blend of raw alcohol, tobacco, and sometimes a pinch of gunpowder for color. Here, the sunlight stays outside. The interior is a world of yellowish shadows cast by kerosene lamps that flicker with every gust of wind. The saloon is the only refuge, yet also the most dangerous place in town. A space where the law stops at the threshold and your life can be worth as much as the last card you laid on the table.
This place ain't for drinking. It's for waiting till someone makes a mistake. I've been sitting in this chair 12 years, lost 2 wives, and near everything else.
Men come in loud, leave quiet. That's how I know who ain't coming back.
See that sawdust? It's for blood, not scratches. This whiskey don't quench thirst, it kills memories.
Out there, I'm scared all day, and here, I'm only scared tomorrow.
The general store. If the saloon was the place to forget the hardships of the frontier, the general store was the place to face them. As you cross its threshold, the chaos of the street vanishes behind an unmistakable aroma, a pungent blend of coffee beans, tanned leather, kerosene, and brine. This building was the Amazon of the 19th century. If it wasn't here, it simply didn't exist for hundreds of miles. From floor to ceiling, the wooden shelves creak under the weight of necessity. Here, a sack of flour isn't just food. It's the difference between surviving the winter or starving to death. But what truly surprises you is the brutal honesty of its inventory. In one corner lie iron plows and heavy axes. In the other, glass jars filled with elixirs promising to cure everything from cholera to toothaches, though most are nothing more than alcohol and legal opium. It is a place of stark contrasts, where you can buy a silk dress brought in by the railroad or the pine coffin you'll be buried in next week. On the frontier, the general store didn't just sell supplies. It sold the hope that with the right tools, you could tame a territory that refused to be conquered.
Out here, prices ain't about money. They're about distance. If the rain don't come this month, we ain't making it to winter. This store's the last stop before the wilderness decides.
Heading I buy here decides if my kids eat or don't.
Medicine and pain. In the Old West, the greatest danger wasn't a bullet in a sunset duel, but something much smaller and invisible. In a time when germ theory was barely a whisper in European universities, the frontier was a battlefield against infection. If you fell ill, your fate depended on a town doctor who, at best, had read a couple of anatomy books, or worse, on a barber who used the same chair to trim your beard as to pull an infected tooth. Stepping into a surgeon's office in 1880 was a nightmarish experience. In a world where water was often contaminated and the most common remedies contained mercury or arsenic, surviving illness was the true act of heroism. Here, the line between life and death wasn't determined by your aim, but by your body's ability to endure in an environment that showed no mercy to weakness.
Doc says I'm alive. Don't feel much like it yet.
I ain't scared of dying. I'm scared he might.
First time I held a saw, it weren't wood on the table.
Pain don't kill you. It just stays till you're done.
The true end of the Old West didn't arrive with a law, but on rails. The coming of the railroad was the most transformative event of the era, a brutal collision between prehistory and modernity. For someone who had crossed the country on foot or by wagon at 2 miles per hour, seeing that massive iron beast appear, spewing fire and steam, was the closest thing to witnessing a spaceship. The train changed everything. It brought grand pianos to muddy towns, silks from the Orient to miners' wives, and above all, it delivered mail and newspapers. Suddenly, isolation was broken. Distances once measured in months of agony were now calculated in days of relative comfort. But this progress came at a melancholy price. With every mile of track laid, the Wild West grew a little less wild and a little more tamed. The railroad became the bridge that connected a legendary world to the 20th century, leaving behind forever the age of the pioneers and ushering in the nation we know today.
Steel don't care who you are. Just wants your back and your years.
Once the tracks are down, nothing out here stays far anymore.
Men come and go. Track stays. That's the job. Used to take weeks to cross this land. Now I pass it by.
Today it's hard to imagine, but in 1880, when the sun slipped behind the mountains, the world sank into absolute darkness and a silence so deep it could ring in your ears. Without the hum of electricity or the noise of traffic, night in the West was untouched territory. Inside small wooden or adobe homes, life shrank to the circle of golden light cast by a whale oil lamp or a couple of tallow candles. That darkness forced people to connect in different ways. It was the hour of stories told in hushed voices, of a lone harmonica playing on a porch, and the crackle of firewood burning low. Outside, the night sky was a spectacle we've since lost, a dome of stars so bright they could help you find your way. But that beauty was deceptive. The desert cold fell like a heavy weight, and the distant howl of the coyote reminded settlers that, even though they had built 4 walls, they were still guests in a wild land. Night wasn't just the end of the day. It was a reminder of humanity's true scale against the vastness of the continent.
Out here, when the sun dies, the world goes quiet. Most men can't stand that.
Daytime lies. Night tells the truth.
Silence ain't empty. It's watching you. Nights when you learn who you really are. World gets real quiet when it's almost done with you.